Close your eyes, breathe deeply. From the great central sun, bring in the golden light of oneness. Allow it to flow down your point of essence, above and down through you. Allow it to reside behind the breastbone a few inches and create a beautiful bowl of oneness, love, and light. Feel that. And now as you breathe and as you feel that love and feel your heart open, send out that golden light from your heart, from your hand chakras, and send it out to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, and send it out to the planet. See the planet sparkling in golden pure love. All sadness is gone. There is love. All fear is gone. All anxiety is gone. There is only love. There is only oneness. Love yourself and let the cup runneth over. Fill the earth. The beings in the earth, around the earth, above the earth, on the earth. Gaia, let her feel your love.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. And so what does all of this mean? A day filled with information, of energy, celebration, questioning, invitations to solve the puzzles of your own life. The time that has been prophesied as poignant, where the human beings will come to a place where they can do something they've never done before. A point of decision that they may have experienced before but never were able to cross, perhaps. Could it be that your history is grander than you think? I'm not going to make this a marathon event, this channeling. We'd like to give you some basic information we've not given you before. We would like to tell you of some of the things that are in the works that you're creating. It's a time of celebration. My very arrival 22 years ago was proof. If you knew the ethers, if you were aware intuitively and spiritually of the potentials of the planet after the harmonic convergence, my arrival was only 2 years after that. And if you'd figured it out, you would have said the arrival of the messenger means that something is different, for the messenger had never arrived before. The precession of the equinoxes is upon you. And in the 36-year window, I arrived at the beginning. And some are now starting to figure this out. Could there be a plan? Could there be a timing known only unto God? And the answer is no. The timing is known by all. Oh, dear one, if I could only tell you in a way that you would believe the things that are hidden from you that may even sound like nonsense, the decisions you made before you came in this time. I didn't show up 40 years ago, I showed up 20. And so many of you arrived on this planet. You arrived with the potential of disaster and doom and pain and death. Another decision point lost, and perhaps the last one available. Many of you were born with a time where the potentials were dark and the prophecies were even darker, where Armageddon was before you and it looked like you were going right into that path. And we have said this again, and you came anyway, old soul. And we look at you and say, human being, if you believe in these things, why did you do that? Oh, this would have been a good one to sit out. Honestly, and we were there with you and you were there. Oh, with the mind of God, whatever you want to call it, with the mind of a universal intelligence, you came in anyway. And the reason we have said, because you knew if you didn't, nothing would happen that would save anything. That there would be no light on the planet, there would be no turning anything around. And here you sit, almost at the middle. And the teacher, Greg, brings it to you so clearly. What are you going to do about it? Well, I have a message that many of you know already. You wouldn't be here unless you'd made up your mind to do something about it. You wouldn't be in the chair unless that was the plan. And you are now formulating that which would just say, what is it that I, personally, your name goes here, what am I going to do? And we have said these things before to you. If there are 700 of you here, there are 700 paths, 700 truths, 700 learning events, you might say. And each and every one is deciding something for themselves. Their Akash is different. You are a marvelous puzzle that is quantum, filled with the potential of the ages at a time that it needs it, and it needs it, and it needs it. If I could take you back where you could really scope out the timeline. Oh, it started to be presented right on the screen behind me. But the screen wasn't big enough. Oh, there's a timeline. And I've not spoken of this, not like this. And this is unbelievable, and there would be those who would shake their heads, but this is spiritual logic, and some of you will know this is true. Oh, dear ones, you are the new one on the block. Oh, dear ones, you are the new one on the block. Human being, you are so new. This galaxy has been around for almost 17 revs. And now I'm going to explain that. For nothing galactic is measured in Earth years. You understand that, don't you? It's measured in revolutions. And if you meet those from the other parts of the galaxy, and you will, they will explain time differently. They would have their own years, and you would have your own years. So it must be boiled down to a common denominator that the galaxy understands, for all of the stars go the same speed. And since they do, the amount of time that your solar system takes to go around one time is the same as your solar system takes to go around one time is the same as everyone's. You're entangled from the center. And that time is called 1 rev. And it is 240 million Earth years. 1 revolution around the galaxy. And that is how it is measured. The ones who seeded you have a civilization you won't believe how old it is. Nothing was here, hardly, on this planet when they were going through what you are now going through. They were the only planet of free choice in the galaxy. You see, there is a system. In the Seven Sisters, the Pleiadians, we're going through this. We're going through this. Their civilization, not their life, but the civilization, as measured from the enlightened decision point, is 0.004 revs old. And in Earth years, if you want to compute it, that's 1,000,000. And how long is it exactly that you've been here? How long exactly have you had science? 200,000 years, perhaps, you would give from the seeding to the start of one kind of human. 100,000 years, perhaps, to revolve through the 5 cycles of humanity. Perhaps there's not enough zeros to give you that would show you how new you are. The Pleiadians had a 1,000,000-year-old civilization that took it to a place where it gave permission to evolve its DNA through conscious decision coming from the heart. And they're just like you. And the things that are told you this day scientifically are spot on. That's how it worked. But what you're doing now, they did. and their DNA started to evolve. And so is yours. And so we take a moment, not only then to reveal that timeline of those who seeded you and give you an idea how long this might take, but to tell you this: you stand on the precipice. But to tell you this: you stand on the precipice of passing a marker of distinction where the galaxy knows who you are. You have 18 years left to plant the seeds of what you're going to do next. 18 years. Not December 21. 18 more years of the 36-year cycle. And in these 18 years, let me give you the potentials that we see. 2,000 years ago, what were the potentials? 1,000. What were the potentials? 100. They're different every single time Spirit looks at humanity. The potentials of today are stronger than ever. It is why you sit in the room. No one in the chair says, all is lost, therefore I'll come to a crying meeting. There's hope, is there not? What is it you're here for? Let me give you the potentials. 20 years ago, I gave you the potentials when I arrived. I said, you have evolved a place in that which you call human nature, where you can drop your karma, become a light worker, start a process that is going to pay off. We told you that the potentials were grand, that the learning would be even grander if you would hold the course. And you did. And you knew something was up. And I've said it so many times before, when the geopolitical systems fell over and the threats were no longer the threats, and the prophecies of old didn't make any sense because the players didn't make any sense. And all of the validations, what used to be, started falling on the floor. But what are you going to replace them with? I want to tell you the potentials of evolved DNA. And this is what your seed biology went through. The sisters went through this. And you are going through this. Your DNA is about to evolve. Now, there are those already thinking in 3D, and they're saying we can hardly wait to measure that. The skeptics waiting for crying, saying DNA is evolving, and they're racing to their microscopes. They're not going to see anything. They're not going to see anything. They may see a few anomalies, but they're not going to see what they expect. For they'll say, well, an evolved DNA is going to have to change chemistry. We're going to have to see things differently. We know what the human genome looks like, therefore we'll know when it changes. No, you won't. Because the kinds of things that are going to evolve in DNA are not measurable with chemistry. But you're going to see them and you're going to know them. There's a celebration going on right now. Those who would stand aside, who have the faces of the sisters who are still here, want to enter this building. They want to surround you, and they want to listen, because this is their history too. Because this is their history too. And they want to make it profound as I give this to you, dear ones. There's part of the DNA that you don't even think is DNA. What does an IQ test measure? If DNA evolves, you expect to get smarter. There are those standing by to measure how much smarter you'll be, and they'll be disappointed, because the IQ test is going to continue measuring pretty much the same. Because there's nothing on an IQ test that measures common sense or compassion or knowing what to do next or looking in the eyes of another person and seeing God. And that in God. And that is what is going to change. The thing you're going to start seeing, and you're already beginning to see it, is what your Pleiadian sisterhood is celebrating and laughing about right now. And you never figured it out. You accept things the way they are. Humans take 20 years or more to grow up because they're complex. Therefore, they come into the world helpless. Helpless. Mother starts to teach them everything they need to know. Language goes and comes, and how to walk, what's dangerous and what isn't. How many years does that take? Look at some of the other mammals, dear ones, who are not strapped with consciousness that doesn't work. The buffalo in the field drops its calf, and within an hour it's walking. Not only that, it knows where the water is. How did that happen? Not only that, it knows what berries not to eat, what's poison. Not only that, it knows where its enemies are, that calf. How long did that take? And those in the audience will say, well, this is too simplistic, crying. Oh, really? What, their brains aren't complicated enough? What's the difference? It ought to give you pause for thought. This DNA of yours has never contained that which you are now developing, and I'll call it the common sense factor, which has always been available, that wants to then put things together instead of tearing them apart, which will come into this world with concepts already in place that will never allow another war. Is it common sense that you'd send your kids to the battlefield? You do it well. What does that tell you? You don't know who your enemies are. You don't know what's poison and what's not poison. You barely know how to walk. Well, that's going to change. Some will call it instinct. Others will have other names for it. The children of today are coming in more conceptual than you did. You're seeing it. They're not fitting into the society exactly in the boxes that you'd like. Perhaps not even in the boxes that you'd like. Perhaps not even in your family. They're thinking differently. This is the beginning of an evolved DNA that the human race is poised to receive, should it choose to go through this with a compassionate mind. 18 years. It starts here. The invitation this morning that I gave, could it be clearer? Glean the things that you need from these days and this weekend and beyond, and take them to yourself so that you will leave differently. Don't wait and study them later. There is no time. You must apply them now because the family is here. The family allows for an energy that is unique on the planet. When old souls get together, it allows for an energy that is unique on the planet. When old souls get together, it is so unique. I want to tell you, how many of you have ever seen a lighthouse convention? They stand on the rocks alone, don't they? Well, this is a lighthouse convention. And you're sharing your light with each other so you can go stand on the rocks alone with more light than you've ever had, entangled with those you meet this weekend. Sharing a compassion, a love perhaps you didn't expect that may change your life, how you think about others. what you do next. And even if you leave this place and say, I have no idea what to do with any of this, I will ask you this: go out peaceful with it. I don't have a goal, many say. Go out peaceful with it. Because these things, go out peaceful with it. Because these things will be presented synchronistically to you as you go through life, trusting in one thing: you are a piece of God. You belong here. You have seeds from the stars, from other divinity. You are different from anything else on the planet. And you should know you're never alone. Ever alone. Never alone. The sisters are applauding, for they know I'm right. And that's how it started for them. 1,000,000 years. That's the message. That's the entire message. Not a long one, but a true one. What is your deep truth? Who are you? Who are we? I am crying and I'm not above you. The human being who sits in the chair before you has developed this particular talent for 20 years. And I use the word talent loosely. He had to learn to let go, to be less stubborn, not to have as many validations as he wanted, to get to a place where he would step aside and say, I give up. And in the moment he did, his DNA changed. It's what we talk about, the commitment to jump into the lake. Once you start the commitment to jump in the lake, you have to trust something you know really well called gravity. And nobody had to explain gravity, did they really? On a piece of paper or the formulas. You know all about it. You trusted it, and in the lake you went, and now you're submerged there and you're swimming. It feels pretty good. But sometimes it takes a lot to make the leap, does it not? We promise the process will take you, once you take that leap, into the lake of compassion, love, promise, understanding, and peace. Peace with not knowing what's next. How many of you are ready for that? It's counterintuitive to everything you've been taught. You must think ahead. You must think ahead, plan ahead, know where you're going, arrive on time. That's my partner. But not anymore. He sits in the chair and he has no idea what I'm going to do. But he trusts that it will be appropriate in love, because we've melded together, he and I. In a way, he's always with me and I'm always with him. And that is where DNA is going. And those who seeded you have that you will then have eventually. An understanding of a quantumness. There is no space between the electron haze and the nucleus. It is packed fully with the compassion of God. And when you understand that, and someone says, "What are you made of?" What is the answer? Compassion. DNA will evolve. This is the future of mankind as we see it. The potentials are there. It starts here. The ball is rolling. Congratulations. Now go from this place differently than you came. And so it is.